to Le Tournoi de... What's French for lie? I don't know what French for lie is. Any idea?
Liaison?
Dennis? Liaison, James thinks. Dennis?
I didn't live in France ever in my life, so I have no idea.
That's a good point. You should know this. Did you never lie in France?
No, truth. 24/7. Thought that's how I'll ingratiate myself to this new community. By being completely honest.
Apparently it's mensonges. Mensongies. Mensongs.
I didn't know that.
Le Tournoi de Mensonges. There you go. For all you hot REM fans in the south of France. How you doing? We're back. What's going on? Let's rank some fucking games. Yo, Dennis. Actually, first of all, I want to talk to James. James, how have you survived the flooding in LA? Sorry, Dennis. There was no natural disaster where you are, Dennis, so I'm going with James.
Pretty much, I just about survived it. The LA River was higher than I've ever seen. It was probably, honestly, like a foot above the block, which was pretty, or the barrier, which was pretty scary. And also,
wait, how was how was the water higher than the barrier?
No, it was almost a foot below. Sorry, the barrier. As in, if you've seen it, like if you look at Terminator 2 or like Grease,
yes, like
it's that giant wide basin. Yeah. So the majority of the river has that, and like normally it's like a stream or like it's like a level. It was,
we've all played San Andreas. You just cycle through that thing.
So when you play San Andreas, just imagine it like a foot below.
Well, really? The whole thing that high? Oh my god!
The part I saw, like around Universal Studios and along that part into the valley, it filled up. The other problem I've realized since moving into my new digs is that the kitchen, it floods from it leaks from the light fixture. The only thing I can this is the only thing and the weird thing is like my room's above it, so the only thing I can think is like somewhere the electrical conduit comes in, there's a hole. Rainwater gets down that, it travels down the electrical conduit and then leaks through the actual light fixture.
That's a fucking nightmare.
So, it's great. It's fantastic. There's never now not a bucket in my kitchen in the last few months.
Full of like electric water.
Yeah, and it's weird. So then like the light still works, but it's like one of those things that like it won't turn on for a bit and then it'll randomly turn on. And then it just sort of, I'm waiting for it to explode. But that's how I've survived the
explode
the
or like burn your house down when you're sleeping. When you've got the light switch still turned on, but you don't know because it's off, and then something sparks, and then suddenly a tournament of eyes is just me and Dennis talking every week.
And that's why, kids, you always turn off the lights before you go to bed.
That's
lesson learned.
I was flying out of LA a couple of days ago, right as the storm was coming in, and the flight attendant. We're just flying up to Oakland, so like pretty short. The flight attendant, and like I've got like flight anxiety, right? Like I'm better now. Like I'm generally okay when it comes to flights. I can deal with like a low to medium turbulence. I'm okay with, but like if it gets really really bad, like then it's like it's a bit scary, right? The fucking flight attendant. First of all, is the second flight we've taken with I think was it Delta? I don't know who was it. Whatever. Where they were late because one of the cabin members was sick. It was like the specific same thing. It was like a cabin member fell ill. So we're like, okay, what the fuck's going on with these flights? And then they came down and the lady said, I shit you not, she said, hold on to your kids, everyone. Between a 1 and a 10, this was like a 9, talking about the turbulence coming down. So I was shitting a brick. I was like shitting myself the entire time we were on the flight. And like it got to like a 4 or 5, which was fine, but it never got to a 9. So like, it was like they threaded a needle or something. They figured it out. So I was like, "Fuck you! You like ruined my flight," because I was like, freaking out for like the entire time.
Did you guys get like bad weather? Did it travel that far up to Oakland or no?
There was a bit of it's rainy. Like it's rainy today and it was rainy all weekend. But like nothing like no.
Sorry, I was just gonna say I've never seen it that bad. There was a heavy day last month, like one day where I was like, oh, that's it was a solid 24 hours of heavy rain. Speaking of heavy rain, coming up, then
24 hours of David Cage game is a little bit much.
But then like that, it was crazy. Like I was outside for some of it, and it was river. Like this city isn't built for rainwater. They haven't thought about it, and it was literally rivers like running down the street.
That's the thing like, that freaks me out about California is that like Dennis, you'll notice this when you come over that like people just when it rains, well hopefully it's not raining in the summer, when it rains they just don't know what to do. And I live like right off a freeway here, and like there was bad rain last week, that whole dam almost bursting thing, like that was like that's just up in Sacramento, so like it's been raining here a lot. And I was asleep one night and every like 90 minutes I'd hear a skid and a crash. Like,
Oh, fuck.
it was awful. And so you're trying to go to sleep, and then you hear like, "Arr," and you're like, oh, here it goes. How bad's this one going to be? Crunch. You know, ugh. That was pretty bad. Not too bad. Yeah, and some of them are like, there's like a screech, and then you don't hear anything for a while, and you're like, is the car airborne? Or or did they get away with it? Yeah, so it was they just crashed like fucking crazy people here in the winter or in the rain. They don't know what to do. It's just slick.
Fierce mild here.
Fierce
Powerful
mild. Powerful mild. What's news with you, Dennis?
Nothing. Same old. My leaks, they just come in through cracks in the ceiling like a normal person. That's it. That's all I've got.
Any seeping walls?
Always a couple. I live in a very old building, so it's fucked.
Your building's like listed, isn't it?
Yes.
It's gorgeous.
And it should be demolished.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's gorgeous, but wrecked. But I love it, so whatever.
What have you been playing recently?
I think so on our last podcast we were playing through we both were kind of playing through Super Mario 3D World kind of separately randomly. I'm playing a lot of that though because I kind of got that bug where you try to like really complete something. So
Yeah.
I was like, I just wanted to complete it so I could complete Twilight Princess like the HD before the Switch comes out. So
Yeah.
that I feel like, okay, I'm back in the Zelda swing of things. But it's now like 10 days to go and I haven't started Twilight Princess because I've gotten to this thing where I'm trying to collect every last thing in Super Mario 3D World. But I love it, so whatever. Other than that, I think that's about it. Just my usual like 5 or 6 competitive PC games that I spend far too much playing.
Hitting that Dota, hitting that Rocket League. You're higher ranked than me on Rocket League.
That doesn't surprise me.
I was
Yeah, he
like,
plays
that's...
a lot of Rocket League.
But I've got like 120 hours on PC. You go...
Okay.
I think maybe
Tell
I'm
me,
just...
I'll check.
I think I'm a prick. I think that's my problem, is that I'm such
No,
a bad
I think it's
teammate.
that I have about 400 hours.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah.
Fuck.
And also that I play with my brother who's got
Yeah, I was about to
a
say.
couple of thousand hours.
Oh, yeah, you got that rank. You got that team
The
up.
insider, yeah.
That
I
competitive
have that,
team
and I
up.
have somebody who's giving me tips all the time who's way better than me. So,
Damn. God, all right. We got to play again. Although now I'm scared of it playing
absolutely.
with you.
We do need a third for competitive, though. So.
Oh, really? All right, yeah, give me that. Yeah, wait, you all right? He's having a stroke. He's having a stroke.
It's not. It's a
No, he's
beautiful
all
wink.
I still haven't got past jumping in the game, so
Oh, God.
I'm at.
No, jumping is when the game starts. I'm
15 hours.
I'm still like trying to get through Ocarina of Time, but it's taken its goddamn time. I think I've gotten to the point now where the game starts because I've just gotten the 3 fucking whatever you call them. So I just left Jabu's mouth or whatever, his belly,
Okay.
and I just got
You
the last of the.
Finished the water temple?
No, I haven't gotten to that yet.
Oh.
So
God.
yeah, so I think I'm about to go back to Zelda with like the 3 things, and I think that's when like the game starts basically. But I'm like 20 something hours. I feel like of this game already. It's pretty good. It's pretty classic. It's a great game. The camera pisses me off, but whatever.
It
Came out,
is aggravating.
1998 or whatever. And I was playing a bunch of Horizon Zero Dawn, which now the embargo is up for. We'll play that for about a fortnight, and the reviews seem to be pretty glowing. Lots of 9 out of 10s and 5 out of 5s. Yeah, that game's great. I love it. It's really cool.
Excellent.
Nice.
There's a video.
No,
up
it does
on-
look well, and it's nice to see something new actually come out.
Yeah.
That looks exciting. So
Who knew the Killzone people would be the one to make like the next great open world game? Who knew?
Bizarre.
Is that the one with the robot
Yes.
things and the girl? Okay.
Yeah, super good. Looks great too. It's only on PlayStation though, which is always a bummer. It's like every year there's at least one. It's like Uncharted last year, and this is this one I think for the game you need to. I mean, we're gonna have the same problem with Zelda then in a couple of weeks too. It's gonna,
Yeah.
hopefully another great open world game. What are you playing yourself, Hamid?
I went back and started playing the Telltale series Game of Thrones game.
Oh,
And I'm about 4 or 5 into it. I do know why I stopped playing it for a while. When I first started to do it, there's a really hard part, and I was using keyboard and mouse, that I would just die instantly before the game even started. Like the first like, choose your thing.
wait, you
but
mean you die in a conversation?
No, sorry, not choose it. The first, I guess, event. What do they call it when you have to do like a quick
Quick-time
action?
event.
Quick
Yeah.
time event.
Right.
Yeah. So
Quick-time event,
the first quick time event, it was like like move up, move down, and it wouldn't work with a mouse. And then I couldn't get the controller to work. But like I've now got a beautiful PS4 controller that works that now is supported on Steam. So
yes.
I went back and played it, and I've got one more chapter to go, but it's pretty good. If you're a fan of the show, if you're a big fan of the books like I am, it's nice, it's subtle. It sort of probably leans more to the show side than the book side, but it's a nice little companion piece to have.
Is it like a side questy kind of thing, like a separate character, like main characters in it, but like you play as like a fucking
it's more almost like to sort of just set it up for people. It is after or around this time of the Red Wedding.
Okay.
And you are a family in the north. I haven't done too much digging to see if this family or the clan is actually in the books. But it's based. You're sort of a northern family who's going through a lot of turmoil. And then it's, several family members in different places, like one on the Wall, one in King's Landing, one in the East. So it sort of shows that thing, and it's pretty good.
Sounds like they just copy pasted the Starks and like renamed them or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's very much like because I was wondering about that, like how do you get the feel of the world, and this is sort of how they sort of place the family around the place,
right?
And like, oh, you bump into the imp, and like, hey, how are you doing, and that type of thing. So it's pretty good though. It's fun.
Good stuff. All right, should we rank some games?
Yes.
Let's start. Let's take our pants off and start ranking. Last week we did a lot of cleaning out of our purgatory land. Zombie U, Tecmo Bowl, Super Tecmo Bowl, sorry. Slender, the 8 pages, not the 7 pages. I kept calling it. And of course Duke Nukem Forever, which is now sitting pretty on 68, the bottom of our Tournament of Lies. Slightly worse than Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5, The Order 1886, and Minesweeper. Top 5, in case you forgot, Rocket League on top, Deus Ex number 2, Resident Evil 4 number 3, GoldenEye number 4, and Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, pipping Mortal Kombat 2 for 6th. Okay, I've got a couple of suggestions here. lies@tournamentoflies.com is where you need to send it. We had a lot of people sending in ones, which we've asked for. Send in 1 game. We still had some more people send in 3. So I'm going to go in the middle and pick 2 from what we have here from some of the people. In fact, Kevin Harvey and Jim Clark both sent in 2 of the same. They sent in 3 games, and there was a 2 in both of them that matched. So I've decided to pick out those 2. And it's a genre that we've basically not covered at all yet, I think, unless you count. We have a David Cage game in here, right?
I'm not sure, actually.
I thought, did we not? Maybe we don't. I thought we had. It's getting so much harder to do a quick scan of the list now because there's 68 games in here.
I'd have to scroll.
Maybe we don't actually. Yeah, but
we don't.
I guess that's not really it either. These are adventure games. These are games that your point and click sort of fun times, which was obviously way more popular in the 90s before people had the internet and lost all patience. So like narrative driven games with mostly just conversations and whatnot. So we're going into the LucasArts world for this. So I'm hoping there's some LucasArts love here. James is on board. Dennis, how are you with the Lucas games?
I've played some, not all.
Okay. Well, let's start off with, I mean, these aren't weird ones. We're not talking about Loom. We're not talking about Indiana Jones. We're not talking about, what's Zach McCracken, James, you were talking about earlier, I remember. We're not talking about
Mindbenders.
We're talking about the big ones. So the first one that got sent in came out in 1990. Wow, I was 4 years old. Made by Lucasfilm Games, as it was known back then. Designed by Ron Gilbert, David Grossman, and Tim Schafer. This is actually the first game I ever completed. This is The Secret of Monkey Island. James,
That's a doozy for your first game ever completed.
It took like 3 months.
It's deep. If anything, should we bury the lead? I'll say I love this game. These types of game I've just expressed on this podcast before are my favorite. I love the adventure game. I love the fact there's puzzles to it. Monkey Island, I think there was adventure games before it, there were adventure games after it, but Monkey Island really set the tone for how you can properly make a game look beautiful, have amazing puzzles, and just really just sort of have a simplistic system, and then just have a good sense of humor about it too. It's such a good game. If anything, and again as a side piece, I think I played this in the Amiga initially.
Me too.
I think my uncle gave it one, yeah. And I'm pretty sure in the original version of the game you could die. That there's several things that you could do that you would sort of come across, and then you would actually die and have to restart.
No,
go to a load
there's
point.
there's one joke death point that's on the island. It's on the lookout on the island where you're throwing the rock that eventually takes out the boat. And there's a cliff that you can walk out on that you can fall off, which says that you die, but the the screen comes back and you hit like a rubber tree or something and bounce
Yeah,
back
and
up
you
again. Yeah.
Well, no. Here's the thing, and here's what I wonder, because I know they added those, because when I played it later, like in later '90s, they had that type of thing. The two I remember as well was that you would go when you're in the forest walking around and you're making the thing with the plants. That if you did the wrong one, there's a poisonous one, because there's a thing that Guybrush goes, oh no, that looks poisonous, walks away. But I'm pretty sure I remember as a kid that you would go to one and you would actually get it and you go like, oh, I feel sleepy, and you'd pass out. And then the other one is the guard dogs at the mansion.
Yeah.
That they would bite you and eat you, or like they would bite you and kill you, because again, you sort of walk close and they look dangerous and go back. Now I could be losing my mind, but I'm pretty sure, and I'm completely off topic, but I do sort of remember that happening. And then later when I played it on the PC, because I didn't complete it till way later. But when I played on the PC, that was completely one of those things that I sort of like remembered. I was like, wait a minute, didn't this used to happen?
I don't know about that. I don't know if you're. I'm looking up YouTube videos now, because this is like this kind of exists in like this sort of random, It's interesting actually, because the next NoClip video is basically around this conversation that we're having. And I don't want to say
really?
because we're not. Yeah, well, just like the idea of like these mysteries and the rumors that you have with other
awesome.
gamers
Like,
about
yeah.
like I don't fucking like, before there was no internet, so I couldn't look this up. I remember like I think you could die with the underwater part. Remember where you had to?
Yes, we had to pick the statue. But no, I think that was another part too, where like if you were there too long, you actually just died. Like it's one of those things.
But
where
I don't know about the dogs. Maybe
I just
because they were like
sort of
chihuahuas.
Yeah, but that was the whole thing. But if you remember, their description is like rabid feral chihuahuas or something like that. And I think, because I mean, it was a lot more common in like, especially like the '80s adventure games, that you could actually die or like be sort of like, especially the Sierra ones, that like you could just sort of mess up. And like and again, as an aside to go around, I'm pretty sure Leisure Suit Larry has the chance to die of AIDS if you don't do around the first game. Like there's a whole thing where it's like which is sort of like a really sort of like on the nose type of like, oh shit. But
actually, wait a sec, Dennis. Sorry, we went off on a.
No, it's fine. I'm enjoying the little descent into like urban legends. Yeah. So what do you want from me?
Have you played it?
Yes. So my brother would have probably played this, and kind of like one of those like watching my older brother play these games from over his shoulder kind of thing. But my own experience with it is on the remastered version on the 360, I suppose, which is probably itself about 10 years old at this point.
Wow.
Yeah, Jesus.
But I think it was a very reasonable remaster in that they just basically made it possible to play on a modern console and more or less left it at that.
Oh, well, they did the new graphics as well.
They did. I think you could switch though between the two if I remember correctly, but which I may not. But I love this. It's still just because like its strengths aren't anything technical. They're all to do with just being funny and humorous and puzzling in a good way. Like I'm not even going to lie about this stuff either. Like even at this day and age, I pretty much need guides to get me through these games. Right. They're actually too smart for me. So I got a lot of time for it. Maybe isn't my favorite LucasArts game, but I'm pretty sure it is yours, Denny. And but it's right up there, and it's just right up there in the genre and in certainly video game folklore. So it's going to be pretty tall order.
What's your favorite Lucas game, out of interest?
Probably Grim Fandango.
Cool. Yeah,
that's a pretty good one.
Yeah,
close
for me. Sorry, James, go on.
I was going to say, I think Grim Fandango for me, I remember, because they changed. It's a great one. I should go back into the remaster, but I remember just the system they had in it. It was also one they'd used for the fourth Monkey Island game.
Yes.
Where it's a sort of 3D world, but the menus and inventories, at least initially, was a bit clunky, and I think that's what put me off, because you almost had to go into it, and like if you wanted to combine two items, it would go into it, it would try to combine two items, bring you out of it, like Guybrush or what's the character in Grim Fandango?
Manny.
Manny, that's it. Manny would be like, oh, that's not going to work. And then you have to start all over again.
Because their inventory system was just basically him reaching into his jacket.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm pulling out different things, yeah.
And there's the same thing with the fourth Monkey Island, which I think has almost sort of been forgotten with time. It's the same sort of graphics and it's sort of there. And
I prefer it to 3. I think
3, you know what? It's a big thing. I've never actually played 3. I only ever played demos because it kind of got lost.
Me too, actually. I think, in fairness.
Yeah, and I didn't like the art style. Like again, to me,
me too.
To me, like I mean, Guybrush and like just how the Scumvy engine. It's like when games look like that, it just absolutely melts my heart. Like I went back recently, played another game, Cathy Rain, which pretty much could have been made on that engine.
Right.
And part of the reason why I loved it is because it looked like that style, that sort of Scumby style. All my favorite games probably would be of that style as well. And yeah, just I mean, getting back to just the first Monkey Island, it's such a I don't know, like Dennis sort of said it. The humor was perfect. I mean, it just combined the right amount of like a crazy great story, with just amazing writing. The puzzles were smart enough, and it just sort of brought you along. And it was, I think the second one got a little bit more tongue in cheek than the first. But the first one just sort of like it just like it was subtle. It like you used a rubber chicken to get across the side.
That's probably like the one of the like couple of puzzles that like fucked me, like that weren't that obvious. The rubber chicken on the I was like, you've got to be kidding me. That was when I was just like, I'm using everything in my inventory with everything and trying to figure it out. But you're right, like the subversion that was going on in those puzzles, like so much of it is like, if the joke is in like the writing is like best in class. It's like one of the funniest adventure games. I think the setting lends itself to it as well, because like it's such a fun setting. Like there's so many jokes with like pirate life, because it's so or the version that they like show is so stupid. Like like all these fucking idiots who are just like half of them don't have any pirating to do anymore because like they're all old or there's nothing left to go, and they're all scared of the actual adventure that's there. Like Monkey, they're like, don't go near Monkey Island. But like stuff like when you're underwater and like that's hilarious. Like the puzzles were in the jokes as well, or the jokes were were in the puzzles, where like you have to pick up the idol. Like of course you do. The thing that you're stuck to is like, because like around you is like everything from like scissors and fucking like every pot and all this shit, all this stuff to cut the wire, and it's like that, and like the insult sword fighting, and even the dance moves to try and find the treasure, like just all of that stuff is so like, even now, like whenever I see shish kebab, I always think of the Shishka Joe, Shishka Larry, all the different heads that were on the way into it. And like the music, like, do you remember the music with all the like Chuck parts? Like even the way he was animated as a ghost was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
That like blue ethereal beard wiggling and the skeleton, like the like neon blue and green, like it was just fantastic looking.
And it's just like, even like again, just like there's the humor is there, the like the callback, the jokes are up there. I would even say like this, and I'm probably completely wrong, but like this almost set the precedent for like, I want to say like Disney and Pixar movies, like breaking the fourth wall. The fact that like the boat salesman was like a bad car salesman,
right.
that like
Stan.
and it's just like got the cowboy hat and he's got the like casino signs coming out. Like the fact that it's like it's sort of like the first one does it. I think in general, I will say I prefer the second game. I think it's a little bit more cleaner looking. But I will say the first one's just so subtle in how it approached it that it doesn't take you out of it when there's a used car salesman with neon signs selling you boats. When it's supposed to be like the 1600s. The second one takes a bit more artistic liberties with it. But no, the first one, it's just so good. I mean, it's if anyone hasn't played it and has a chance to, or wants to pick up the remastered version and just sort of get the 1 and 2, it's so worth it.
Yeah, sorry, I spoiled a bunch of the puzzles there.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah. I was going to reference other jokes, and I was like, no, it's for people who haven't played it yet. They have to go back and just sort of see it.
Oh, man. All right, should we try and get it in here? It's going to be hard. I don't know where you stick an adventure game, because like the reality of an adventure game as well, and like this comes down to, I'm trying to think, there was another game we played that was like, it just doesn't really work nowadays anymore. I'm trying to think which one it was. We did it recently. And adventure games kind of fall into the same problem, where it's like, as much as I love Monkey Island, the best Monkey Island was the one that I played 20 years ago. It's not the one that you can play today, because we just don't have that like level of patience anymore, and we don't like it's the writing's really good, and there's a thing that's actually in the next documentary where one of the guys I'm interviewing was talking about Ron Gilbert, who said when he was making Monkey Island, you weren't making conversations that like were actual conversations. You were just writing 6 punchlines for every sentence. And like, that's why those games are so funny, because that's it. Like, it's just like, you can say anything. Like, the best way to have the conversation is to have every conversation. And that's like the fun part of it, which is kind of in a lot of like other adventure games now. But the puzzles and stuff, I just don't think we have like the patience for that anymore. So I'd have a harder time recommending Monkey Island today than I would have like 20 years ago.
I will definitely. I think you're right. I think there's some truth to that. I definitely think, and again, as someone who still sort of plays them, I feel that in the last 10 years, there's been almost like a not a renaissance but a resurgence of adventure games. I think it's been a good outlet for indie developers, and I think there have been some really really fun games that come through. Now, do they have the same strength as they did when they were done by like major studios or like had big financial backings? No. Like you will. All the games I played, now and again you come across that one point where there's a character whose voice lines, it's probably just a dude in the office they quickly like threw in.
Right.
It sounds a little bit rougher. It's not on the same level. But there's been some real good ones like Gemini Rue.
Oh yeah,
Kathy Rain. Like
played Gemini Rue. Yeah.
Yeah, like they're not good. Like they're not as polished and clean. They don't have the budgets behind them. But like it's a great. I feel it's almost like what happens with first person shooters, where they sort of went away. They're always there. The diehard fans are always going to be there, but like suddenly we see stuff like Doomed coming out and a few other things that like they maybe not gone through the heyday where like just money was being thrown at them. And it's first person shooters always had way more of a market.
Yeah,
but
maybe that was not a good example, but like I know what you mean. Something like like strategy games or something where they go away for like 6 years and then come back.
Yeah, and but I don't think. Yeah, I agree with you. It'll probably never get the same strength. I don't think the patience is there, but I think there's still definitely a fan base for it. And the fact that the internet has allowed so many people to say go on Steam or like Xbox Marketplace or PSN and have a market to show these games allows smaller companies to sort of put them out.
And at least when it comes to these ones when they're redoing them, like Dennis played the 360 version of Monkey Island, that had that tip system in it, right?
What?
It had like a tip system where you could, like, if you didn't know what was going on, you had like three
Oh,
different.
that's what you mean. Sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah, it
Tip
did.
jar.
It did allow. Yeah, it did allow people like me to get a leg up.
Yeah, so I guess maybe we should take that into account as well when we're looking at this one specifically. Because if you didn't want to play Monkey Island now, you wouldn't pick up an old DOS floppy disk. You'd probably get it on that, or I think that came out on PC as well. I think that
It did.
the special
It did,
edition.
yeah.
Came out on everything actually, OS X and iOS,
much.
iOS as well. Jeez. Okay, where are we thinking then? Because this is kind of a classic, but it's in a funny little genre. So
It is.
like for me, it's top, like we're talking top 20 anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
My just going down from the top. I can't see it going below personally. Die Hard trilogy. You guys had a lot stronger feelings about that than I did when we ranked it, but that's kind of where I'd be. I think drawing a line for me. Can't go below that.
I had actually gotten to the same point and said it has to go higher than that, so I'm right there with you.
I would at the very least put it ahead of Worms.
Yeah.
The only reason why I haven't put it higher is because, again, at some point Monkey Island 2 will come on here. And I think the debate will become which is the better of the two. Now, maybe it becomes a thing where we rank them side by side and just sort of say they are part of really a double bill.
I've gotten a bunch of emails from people saying, you got to stop worrying about sequels. And I think it's like, I don't know, I'm kind of, like I'm with you when you know that one's going to get in there, it's like, I don't know, it's easier to just put it a little bit lower. So maybe we should like be a little bit. I mean, we did with Uncharted, like that's sitting at 10. That's kind of where I see it landing. Actually, is like behind Super Meat Boy or something.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I think back, like honestly, and again, this is me. I'm probably in the minority, especially if we're talking about Uncharted 2 as a whole package. But if you sort of said to me now, I can go back and play Uncharted 2 or Monkey Island, I'd probably take Monkey Island.
What do you think, Dennis?
Yeah, well, my personal feelings won't allow it to go above Super Meat Boy for me, but could easily go above. Like it's in that ballpark there. Like I'd have it above Mass Effect, and then once you get into Worms, Team Hospital, Uncharted, look, it's a toss up. They're such similar games, So yeah, I'd have it above Uncharted 2, I think, just behind Super Meat Boy. So it would crack the top 10 just.
Yeah. That's kind of where I feel as well. Like
there could come a time where we have 100 games here and we have all the Monkey Island games, and they're within a few of each other. The further point of the message you got about like not getting too hung up on sequels, like we can, I don't see a problem with Secret of Monkey Island being in there ahead of LeChuck's Revenge, like by a single space. There could come that way at some stage. I think it deserves to be there. I think it's gaming folklore, and it's not just on its name. It is it's a genre defining game for sure.
All right, yeah, I'm happy with that. I think Meat Boy exists on the other side of the spectrum where it's all gameplay. It's all like control, and it's almost on the opposite end of the spectrum from what Monkey Island is. But it's also hilarious. So
Yeah.
it's like it's ticking a lot of boxes. I think Meat Boy I think is a bona fide classic in its own right. Okay, so there it goes. Cracks the top 10. Secret of Monkey Island is in there, number 10. What are you saying?
Sorry, one final point.
It's already been listed.
Oh no, not about that. Just that Full Throttle is the best LucasArts game.
No way.
I fucking love Full Throttle.
I don't know. I haven't played it properly. I can't say. Anyway,
it's cool.
You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about Monkey Island 2. But we do have to worry about another LucasArts game because Kevin Harvey and Jim Clark also suggested that we rank a game that may or may not go above Monkey Island. It's not Monkey Island 2 though. It came out in 1998. Some say the last great adventure game, at least before the recent resurgence. Designed and directed by Mr. Tim Schafer and published by Double Fine Productions in the remaster. And LucasArts, was it their last one? Maybe. This is Grim Fandango.
Wow.
James, you played it, I'm guessing?
Yes, I have. That's a heavy-handed thing to go through. I just put it that one. I mean, we sort of started talking about the last one. Outside of what I brought up about the inventory system, and really it was more sort of a knock. It was a bit better in Grim Fandango. It was really bad on the Monkey Island 4, whatever that was.
I think the inventory was the same. I think the problem was in Grim there was less of the Monkey Island style combining stuff.
Yeah, to do it.
Yeah.
I think that was Return to Monkey Island. But anyway, yeah, I mean, what a beautiful game. Like really, this game, Grim Fandango is one of those things that, like, I think, and rightly so, gets so many, like, I guess, God, why can't I think today? Like, not achievements, but like just
praise, plaudits.
Exactly, all those things from pundits about how great and like how beautiful the game is, how clever the world is. Like, I mean, the fact that the game, for the people who don't know, you're pretty much. Is it you're an insurance man in the Land of the Dead?
You are a travel agent.
Travel agent in the Land of the Dead. That's right, and it's completely one of those things that just to sort of set that and sort of give it that real like noir feel. It's just so innovative, and like nobody was even thinking about it. And again, the world at the time was like really like Half-Life was out. There's a real push for first-person shooters, and like adventure games were just coming, like Tomb Raider, all that type of stuff. And then like in the middle of it, a swan song really for the adventure game was Grim Fandango, and like man was it good.
But like even separated from even LucasArts stuff in the past, which was relatively. One foot in reality, if anything. You had lots of like games that were, Monkey Island is ridiculous, but it's like based on a era of some description, and like the Monkey Island, they had their Indiana Jones stuff, and they had like stuff that was like contemporary or like historical in a way, whereas this was fantastical in a way that like a lot of those games weren't. And you didn't have characters like Glottis in a lot of old LucasArts games. You didn't, and you're right, like the concept, like I didn't know anything about Latin American culture or the Day of the Dead or the whole idea of when you die you have to like go on a journey before you get to the afterlife, and this sort of mismatch of like capitalism mixed with faith and this journey was like incredibly fascinating. Dennis, you played much of Grim Fandango?
Yeah,
with
3 for 3,
right?
Said, it is my favorite LucasArts game, and probably along with Toonstruck my favorite point and click adventure. It is pretty much like how do you it's only in a situation where we're ranking games that I even have to tell you which is my favorite between Grim Fandango and Secret of Monkey Island. And like every pro and con you would list for these games, you would list the exact same for the other ones. I certainly would take on board maybe that the cast of characters, and it's several years later when gaming had really moved on, and it allowed a much bigger scope. Like say if the actual original Secret of Monkey Island came out 7 years later, there would have been a lot of scope. But look, we can't get hung up on things like that. But its cast of characters is just so broad and hilarious and just compelling, and at no point do you fall into tedium. And I went back and replayed it again in the remaster. So I played the original and awesome. The remaster. So I have the kind of dichotomy there. Okay, so you go back and play it. You're living on nostalgia, but it's Yeah, it's like it's going to be. I know we're not quite into the ranking yet, but it's going to be in the ballpark. I could live with it kind of going either side of that, but it's so humorous, so endearing, just charming, like brave as well to make such a just a batshit game that just no like idea was like thrown out that wasn't given a chance. Like there's no question about that. The puzzle is fun, which is a thing about some of these. Sometimes puzzles are just kind of obtuse and tedious, and you try it until you fix it. But the puzzles are fun and are rewarding, and I have nothing but like good things to say about Grim Fandango.
It does the whole like splitting up the game into like eatable chunks really good as well, because it's kind of like a buddy movie, like a road movie, buddy movie, and like. I remember playing through it. I think the only part that I got a little bit frustrated with in the past was driving through the forest.
I was about to bring that up. Yeah.
But I did that recently. Not recently. I don't know. I did the remaster maybe 2 years ago again, and I mean it's different the second time you play it because I didn't remember what to do, but like I had an idea, and I actually got through that section way faster than I had when I originally played it when I was a teenager or whatever. But yeah, that whole thing, and I remember like the ending of it being like super solemn. Like Monkey Island has like one of the funniest endings ever, where like the LeChuck is exploding and it's just a picture of like Guybrush and Elaine and like the lights bouncing off their faces. And she said, like, have you learned anything from this? And like all 4 punchlines are so like funny. And the last one is something like, which I always pick is like, yeah, never spend more than $30 on a video game or something. And she says like, what? And then the credits go. And it's like a really funny ending to the game. Whereas the ending in Grim Fandango is like, it's super sad because it's like Manny's going and Glottis has got his own thing going on now. And like, it's it sort of is evocative of like there's a sort of a solemn core to Grim Fandango, like a sadness that exists in the entire story where you're like surrounded by people who have made some mistake in their life or are like grieving for some sort of thing that's happened in their life, and some are doing better than others, and the whole way through. And I guess there's that noir thing which I'm not super familiar with when it comes to movie, except for the really obvious stuff. But yeah, it's nothing feels like Grim Fandango. Like I can't think of any other game that is like close to it in terms of setting or mood or tone. And when in the world of video games, that's like pretty unique.
Yeah, no, I mean like my favorite movies are I love noir movies. Like I absolutely love them. So that the sort of tones and the characters and like the sort of almost like tongue in cheek, but sort of really well represented approach to doing that in this game, they're fantastic. And then just like honestly, like there's a level where like if this was a film, it's like somewhere Tim Burton does Pixar,
right?
And the depth of characters and like what they really sort of show there, like if it was made into a movie, it could almost like sort of stand tall with them. Like it's a sort of it's just so rich. It really is. And it's really a beautiful game.
To let you know, or to let people who are listening to know, and you can agree or disagree with this, but just the year that was 1998. I mean, it was such a. You mentioned a bunch of games that came out that year. This game actually won GameSpot's Game of the Year in 1998. So even then, like there was people who knew that this game was something special. This isn't something that like years later, Tim Schafer lovers or like Lucas apologists or something like suddenly decided it was the best thing in the world. Like back then as well, this game like mattered to people and was super cool. So yeah, there you go. Nominated for the Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences Game of the Year as well. Didn't win. Don't know what did. Anything could have won that year. Fucking hell. Metal Gear Solid came out that year as well, I think.
Oh wow.
Did Did Ocarina of Time come out that year?
1997 or 98.
Yeah. I think that was already out.
I think 1998. Zelda,
there you go.
I think Metal Gear Solid came out that year as well. Was that?
When's Half-Life? 97.
90. Yes, 97. It was. And then the next year was Quake 3 and all that stuff. So yeah, a lot of stuff. All right, should we try and figure this one out? I love Monkey Island to bits. I'm probably the one here that loves Monkey Island more than I love Grim Fandango, but I also think that Grim Fandango is a better adventure game. And I think it's as funny maybe. Like some of the high points, like humor wise, like with like the balloon, the surly like balloon animal maker, who just like no matter what you say to him, just gives you shit. Like even if you're trying to be nice to him, like he's such a dirtbag. and like you're, oh god, like just even stupid shit like trying to make the scare away all the pigeons by like making a filling like the puzzle at the start with the two, you put the two things together, the components, and it makes concrete. Like all that stuff super funny. All the racehorse crap that happens when he owns like the club. I just think I don't know, like the puzzles and everything in this game I think were better, or like made more sense. Like there was less of the rubber chicken shit, like Dennis was saying. There was more of a they flowed a bit better than I think Monkey Island did, they should when a game comes out like 8 years later,
No, I definitely think like Grim Fandango's a lot more, I guess mature might be the word, and like nothing against Monkey Island, but Monkey Island's almost straight comedy and an adventure game.
Yeah.
Where Grim Fandango almost want to have a bit more like substance in general, and like almost have more emotion, so it can range from being funny because to keep that audience, but then also have a story, make you think, have a bit of depth to it as well.
Yeah, I think you're totally right. You're right. Like Monkey Island is a comedy game, and there's nothing wrong with that, and it's hilarious, and it might be the funniest game ever made. But yeah, Grim's got something else going on there. All right, do you all want to hazard a guess?
I'm gonna say number 7.
Okay.
10.
Oh, 10. Fucking Meat Boy, man.
I know.
It's a real problem for me.
Hey, come on.
Fucking damn.
I mean, Glottis is almost Super Meat Boy.
He is. Like,
He kind of looks...
he's like an overgrown version of like the fetus or something.
Yeah, exactly.
But
so
no.
there you go. No, it doesn't count.
Like it pains me when you have these ones where you're like, this whole thing's a mess. How is MK2 above Super Meat Boy? Anyway, whatever. I can see your argument for 7 straight away. I think it's a reasonable argument too. Danny, where are you putting this?
Like I'd probably put it like actually I'd probably put it like 3, but like
Fair enough.
I don't think it's going in 3, but I do think it's better than, like, I have no affinity for GoldenEye at all, so that's like,
Yeah.
That's
and I
fair
can
enough.
appreciate its importance, but like that's all I get from that is like, oh yeah, that was when console players got to play a first person game, got it. And like Street Fighter 2, I mean Street Fighter 2, it's hard to put it above Street Fighter 2 I think more than anything else. And Resi 4 is pretty incredible, but like, yeah, do I prefer Grim to Resi 4? Yeah. Do I think it's like as good a game or as important in the genre? Like maybe not. I don't know. Like, whose idea was this? This fucking stupid
Can I ask a question that we I feel like every third podcast we should probably like write a rule book, because every now and again, because like this is the thing, like we are ranking the video games.
No.
And we and we are the ones setting the list for the people, because it is that type of thing. Like if you made the argument to me that Grim Fandango should go above Street Fighter 2 Turbo, for me personally, for us as a group, I can see it. If we're talking about the history of all time, probably not. But
right, yeah, right.
That's why I did those sort of. I mean, don't get me wrong, those games still like have a good place in my heart. Mortal Kombat 2, Street Fighter 2, that was my childhood, but.
I mean, I feel like the argument about subjectivity, like I feel like originally we went into this being as objective as possible, but then I look at number 1 on this list.
100%.
And I'm like, this isn't that objective.
Let alone that I'm sitting there going like I instantly, when you're like number 3, I'm like, oh, Deus Ex is number 2. That came in 99. Fandango came in 98. I wonder who's going through a nostalgia butts right now.
Right, if it's going 7, it's going 6. Telling you that.
That's fair enough. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
The Wii Sports one
But
is
it could
hard
go
because
higher.
like Wii Sports isn't there because Wii Sports is like that amazing a game. Wii Sports is there because Wii Sports is an amazing game, and also because it basically sold the one of the highest selling consoles of all time. It is the Wii revolution. So like that's why that's there. So it's hard to put above it when I think that. Because if anything, it's like Grim Fandango is the opposite, because Grim Fandango was the death knell of the adventure game genre because they spent so much money on it and it didn't sell. So
I prefer the term swan song. I think it's a bit better. And I do. Well, again, that's sort of one of those things that like Grim Fandango flourished, even though the genre almost, it was sort of that weird thing where the genre almost felt like it needed to go 3D, and we sort of saw it with fighting games, and some things it worked out with. It worked out with Tekken, Soul Calibur, stuff like that. But then when, like, say, Street Fighter tried to do the EX stuff and go 3D, it was a little bit slower, it was a little clunky, it lost a lot of what it was thinking, and then they realized, no, King of Fighters, Street Fighter, just stay 2D.
Yeah.
Stay on that plane, stay around it.
That was
I
hard.
feel like
yeah.
Yeah, I think adventure games sort of that were like, no, we have to go this way. People expect us to have graphics and do all this other stuff. Whereas if they just stayed 2D and had beautiful art, I think it might have also
maybe.
worked.
You're right. There was a couple of, there was Grand Theft Auto, Metal Gear Solid, and I would argue Worms were games that handled the 3D one really well. I think I'm on my own with Worms 3D. I think most people prefer the old ones. I think Worms 3D is fucking amazing. Mostly because me and Dale played the shit out of it for like an entire summer. But yeah,
I'll be honest. I haven't played too much Worms 3D, but I mean the other two. I get what you're saying. They handled that transition fantastically. At least the other two.
Oh, okay.
I've been convinced somewhat. I think 6 is its new floor.
Above Wii Sports?
Yes.
Yeah. It's hard to put it above Mortal Kombat 2 and Street Fighter 2.
But what about putting it above just one of them?
Just above MK? Split the difference?
Yeah, we need to separate them. That's too much hedge sitting. We need to actually make a fence to go in between them.
Yeah, you're right. That is very... I am looking at them as a unit because it's easier to look at them as a unit. I can't with good conscience put Grim Fandango above Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Like, I feel like that is like one of the... When there is a montage for like a mainstream documentary about video games...
Oh, yeah.
Street Fighter 2 Turbo gets in there. Like, that's in there with Mario and fucking, Sonic and all that. It's too big a beast to topple.
I agree. I think like if people never played video games or like their reference to it are probably Mario, and I would think Street Fighter is probably they would just know about it.
Yeah.
Like I think that's almost part of pop culture. Yeah, exactly.
Fuck.
Now, there's a worrying trend here.
Yeah.
Super Meat Boy is now precariously positioned at number 10. We will be having a full episode of rejigging the top 10 the second we come up with anything that knocks that from number 10. It's
maybe we should do that next. Maybe that should be the next one where we maybe what we do is
we're 30 off 100.
Yeah, when we get to 100, I think we do a Marvel Universe and just blow up the whole thing and start over.
Oh, that's genius!
Just retcon it all.
That's great. That's great. We should do that. Once we reach 100, we should just have a full podcast of it. God, now I want to race to 100 so we can do that. Just do like a 6 hour.
I was about to say 9-hour debate.
Just start putting all the sequels in together, like all of the Monkey Islands in 11, 12, 13. Fine, done.
All right, let's rank this one, and then I'll throw in some fun ones we can rank pretty quickly. All right, we'll give ourselves 10 minutes and say we're gonna get a couple of these in. Right? Okay, so do we think 6? I'm not. I want to hear the argument for going above Mortal Kombat because I'm not Mortal Kombat 2 because I'm not fully on board with that.
Fatalities aren't funny. They perpetuate a violent culture.
Clearly, you've never thrown the ice grenade, Sub-Zero.
If you want bad, weird, pseudo-realistic animation, then play Toonstruck.
We're not having Toonstruck yet. You want to get Toonstruck. That's the problem, because he's going to want to put Toonstruck above Grim Fandango.
You've clearly played Toonstruck the last few weeks.
No, I haven't. I never got it when it came back on GOG, but I will. I
didn't play Toonstruck. Oh, Toonstruck. God. Oh, that's that weird one.
Because it was like 15s and it came out when we were like 10.
That's like that Roger Rabbit shit, right? Where the dude is real. Oh,
it's Christopher Lloyd as well.
Really
is
messed
it?
up.
Yeah, Christopher Lloyd's it, yeah. There's a few games that came out like that. Clearly, Dennis, someone did the splits and punched you in the balls, and it's never resonated well with you. So,
wait, does anybody... Well, I suppose here's the thing, Danny, I accept that you need a reasonable argument to put it... Like, any single step up in the top 10 is important, but...
Which we've not done, in fairness.
Does anyone believe... Well, we have, because we're saying we love it. But, like, does anyone have a reason that... Like, does anyone feel strongly it doesn't go above Mortal Kombat 2?
Sorry, what? Grim Fandango?
Yeah.
Yes.
Strongly is such a heavy word to use. Can I see the argument for it? Yes. I mean, if we want to put above Mortal Kombat 2, we can say sexism, because on the Johnny Cage point, when he does the splits against woman characters, he doesn't punch them in the balls.
It's right. That's an unfair
sexism.
advantage. That's punching
It
up.
is, sexism.
That's punching up.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like that in video games.
Now I want to put it above it. Fuck. Yeah. I don't know. I think it goes. I don't know. Mortal Kombat 2 is such a special game. It's hard. It's so hard.
You know what? I sort of feel like we put Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat together with Street Fighter above it for a reason. We kind of had that block.
Dennis is right though. We did do it out of some sort of like selfish needs to just not have that conversation. Like just put them together and be done with it. It's like putting Sonic and Mario together. Although that would be crazy. Although maybe we do have to get Sonic in here.
Yeah, I don't know, like, because we can't just do this whole like, oh well, which one would we play right now? Because
nobody wants to sit down and play a fucking adventure game right now.
Hold on, I have a word to say. Thank you very much.
Oh, I've got the Mortal Kombat 2 like mountain music playing in my head now. The shitty one that also played through all of all the Amiga disc swapping I had to do on that screen.
Yeah, like I did love Mortal Kombat 2 in its day. There's no question.
The cool kids in the day played Mortal Kombat 2.
No, the slightly older kids played it. The people who were cool played Street Fighter.
Okay, if I had to choose between the two of them, I would put Grim above Mortal Kombat. I've just thought about them separately, and I would.
Certainly means more to me.
Yeah.
For what that's worth, very little.
Are we putting forward a anti-centaur sentiment though? By putting
anti-centaurnament of life.
Yeah. I'm fine with it going above Mortal Kombat 2. I
think if anything, just to end this extremely dull conversation.
Right. Okay, it's in there. It's number 6. We got it. We got it in. Okay, I'm gonna try and I don't know. I worry that we are going to find it impossible to rank anything quickly. So I'm just gonna throw this one out there. This one got sent in from Aidan McCullough. And it's a game that came out in 2009 on the PlayStation 3. It is a PlayStation 3 exclusive. Actually, I think it eventually came out on the iPhone. It was made by Keita Takahashi, who is currently working over. He's in San Francisco working on that Watam game. He is the creator of Katamari Damacy as well. But this is perhaps his finest achievement in video games. It's barely a video game at all. It's Nobby Nobby Boy.
Okay, like I've played like 25 minutes of this game ever, but I feel like I have as valid an opinion as like its biggest fan.
I feel like Nobby Nobby Boy can be played in 25 minutes.
Yeah. Like I'll say right now, right this second, it is the bravest game we're going to rank. It is so joyful. Like it's the most joyful thing on earth, right? It's just you can't help but play this game, whether you're good at it or dreadful at it, but just smile and just be abundantly happy with how your life has turned out. It is so God, we're talking about humor of these games that are going for like straight up feedline punchline humor. This is this amazing kind of I'm getting all my endorphins releasing at the moment kind of joy humor. I adore it. I think top 3.
Oh no!
No, we gotta go quick. We gotta get quick here. No,
James,
can't be reasonable.
James, have you played it? Nobby Nobby Boy?
I haven't. No.
Do you know anything
what am I
about
missing
it?
out on?
So Nobby Nobby Boy is basically a game where you are. I think Nobby means like stretch in Japanese or something. It's basically a game where you control. Dennis is fucking losing his shit already. Where you control like some sort of like snake dog like situation. Which you control his like front 2 legs and his back 2 legs separately on either analog stick, and if you push them apart, he stretches out, and you can also hold a button that makes him like condense. But he's also able to like eat things, so he can eat like I think can he eat bigger things the bigger he is or something? Dennis is literally crying right now. Just so anyone who's
just looking at pictures of it again, and
it's the stupidest shit I've ever made. And he's able. He's also like when you try and eat things, you for some reason he like is able to fly a bit. Like I can never really fully understand how to control this game because he kind of jumps whenever he eats. So if you keep hammering it, you can get him to like float into the sky, and like you can like he can wrap himself around these like donut shaped clouds that are flying around. I think the levels, every time you load up a level, it's just different. Oh, and also like there's no win condition. Like I don't think so. I think there's like nothing to do. Like you're basically eating things when you're long, and when you condense, because imagine like a snake eating like 4 hamsters, right? Where it's really big, and then you condense the snake down, he'd poop out the hamsters, right? So you basically just end up like creating this weird dog child baby that like is condensing and like pooping people out of its arse in like 256 million colors, because it's like the most vibrant looking thing as well. And that's basically Navi Navi Boy. Oh, and then so that's like the game is like it's basically like an interactive screensaver where you just fuck around with a village full of people and terrorize them and fly around. But what's actually happening is every time you stretch, it gets added to this like this meta game, which is like this communal stretch like goal. So you play as boy, which is the Navi Navi boy, stretch boy or whatever, and then girl is this like this being that lives in space that is stretching. Every time you stretch, she stretches the same amount from Earth. But not just you, everyone playing Navi Navi Boy. So they'd set up these things where like basically new levels would get released once you had stretched as far as like the moon, I think was the first one. So it took 1 to 2 weeks for everyone to get to the moon. So the moon was reached on February 23rd, 2009. That was 4 days after release. Mars was reached March 23rd. Jupiter was released the following November. So that's like almost a year. January 19, 2011, girl reached Saturn. So that's 2 years after it came out. December 25th, 2011, they got to Uranus. Or Uranus, I still don't know how to say that one. Girl arrived at Neptune sometime around March 6, 2014. That's 4 years after the game came out. And got to Pluto November 23rd, 2015. And then what happened was everyone thought, once you get to Pluto, that's it. But what happened was then she turned around and came back the other way. And the next thing she had to hit was the sun, which meant that she'd have to like basically do the entire distance again. So it was going to take like 5 years. And actually way longer because there's less people playing this game. But what happened is they had some like ratio altering multiplier locked in there to like make it go faster. And she got back, like people went back to play more Navi Navi Boy to basically make it happen. And she got back to the sun after 2,489 days after the game was released on December 14th, 2015. And each time they did that, something new happened in the world. Like they added a level or a new thing or the color changed or some shit. I forget exactly what it was. And that triggered the end of the game. Although it is still possible to play. But that's Navi Navi Boy. It's fucking weird. It's a bizarre thing. And the world is a better place for it.
My only question is, after they got to Pluto, why didn't they continue on to the mysterious Planet X and see what? That sounds like something. I don't know. A for effort. Like that's one of those things where it clearly came out of Japan.
What more needs to be said?
Yeah.
I think I dig the idea. I'm bummed. I think I've seen the name around. But I think I would always get it confused. Was it Katamari Dynasty and all this sort of stuff with the rolling ball in the city? Yeah.
That's an actual game though. That's a game with like levels and like goals.
No, definitely, yeah, and like timers and everything to it. This is new to me. Danny, don't know.
Do you think we can rank it? I think we can.
I think we can rank it. Yeah, I think we can figure it out. I think it goes. I don't know. Like, fuck. Like.
So after everything I've said, I'm thinking 53. I love it. Believe me, I love it. But like, as a game, it is what it is, and it goes 53.
Yeah.
It's not as good as Super Hexagon as a game.
As a game,
but it's a good bit better than Soldier of Fortune.
But as a game, it's also like the world is a better place for Navi Navi Boy existing than it is Super
no
Hexagon.
No question. Yeah.
You're right. Like, it's so hard to rank this anyway high because it's like the opposite. Like, so many games need to be like all things to all people. Like, you need your like open world game to have like a good story and good combat and a good world and like, you know, good online maybe and like multiplayer. Whereas Navi Navi Boy is kind of like okay at one thing, but because it's okay at that, and because it's like so low cost to play it, like you don't have to sit through a tutorial or some like exposition. You're just thrown into it and you're immediately doing it, and it's stupid. And like everyone's experience of Navi Navi Boy, like you said it right. You played like 25 minutes that game. That's a really honest answer as well, because like there are people. I think most people who've played Navi Navi Boy think they have played a lot more Navi Navi Boy than they actually have, because there's not fucking anything to do, and that's why it's so funny, because it's so stupid. I think I sold it for like £5 or something.
I would love to speak to somebody who's really invested time in Navi Navi Boy. I'd like to know if there is more meat on these bones. But the bones are so good, I don't care.
Totally.
The bones are really stretchy and weird.
And so, like, the fact that it's just, like, it's pretty good at, like, just being weird and funny for, like, 20 minutes. But the fact that so many people have experienced that, like, that's why Navi Navi was fun. Because it's just, knowing that it exists out there just makes you, like, it's like when you see, like, a cute dog that's not got a collar on it, and it's just like, I don't want you. I don't want to have to feed you. I don't want you to live with me, but I'm happy you exist. The world is a better place because you exist. Goodbye. That's Navi Navi Boy.
I couldn't have thought of a more perfect analogy. Okay, so I can go anywhere in and around the 50, give or take a couple of spots.
All right.
It seems fair to me. Like, did you have a spot, an idea?
Actually, I think you've kind of... Because I'm looking at it, I can't look conscious puppet about Angry Birds or Gone Home. Or Super Hexagon is where I'm like landing, where I'm not sure. Like, I'd put it above Super Hexagon. Like, I'm really sorry, Terry Cavada, but as much as I love your game, I fucking Navi Navi Boy is just so mental. It's like mental in a totally different way. Like I can't imagine a more like opposite feeling than going from Navi Navi Boy to Super Hexagon. One is so stressful and like so intense, and the other one is just like bemusing.
Yeah, they're probably the two games we recommend if you get a new iPhone. Get both of them.
Right, they're the yin and yang of an iPhone experience.
Cool experience.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd put it above it. Is that all right?
Yeah, it works for me 52. I like it.
It's fine with me too. I'm gonna have to go play some Nobby Nobby Boy now. This is incredible.
Navi Navi Boy may be the like best game in the lower half of this. Like the best at what it's trying to do. Like what it's trying to do, it nails. Like it does it perfectly. But what it's doing is just not that great. It's the
like
good.
Popo and Yo has ended up at 61 just to a kind of an attrition almost. And I like Popo and Yo. Like there's just not really, bar the bottom couple, there's not out and out bad games on this list yet. Yeah. So
that last, I feel, 6, and let's be honest, Unreal Championship 2, the Leandri conflict is there by default almost. We'll have to crack open that. Oh, I'm just gonna get an Xbox. I'm gonna order an Xbox or something. But I'm with you. Like Duck Hunt is like superbly overrated. Blood is a fucking mess, which we recently realized. Minesweeper's a fucking app. The Order 1886 is just fucking a really, gorgeous looking hellscape, and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 is terrible and Duke Nukem Forever. Well, we had our say on that, but yeah, there's some good games in there. So, okay, we'll put it there. 52, Navi Navi Boy, is the third and final game we're going to list this week. On a tournament of life. 71 games, we're now deep. We've got Grim Fandango at number 6, almost breaking in the top 5. Secret of Monkey Island had a hot minute there in the top 10. It's been pushed out to number 11 now, though. And our favorite fucking anthropomorphic dog child nightmare space exploration simulator, Navi Navi Boy, sitting at number 52. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Much obliged.
Thank you.
As ever.
No problem. Have a good one.
What are you going to play for the rest of your week, James?
You know what? From our conversations, from what we just talked about, I might go back and play Monkey Island 3.
Ooh.
Actually play it through, try and find a version. It might be on GOG. But that's the thing. I think it's like one of those things where it just sort of disappeared. I think it also sort of fell into that weird world where whatever was going on with how they coded and did computer games there, it got lost in that sort of like Windows 98 to Windows XP type of thing, and it didn't transfer well. Like I know Broken Sword 4 really only got like a Steam release and like a sort of probably through DOSBox release. in the last 2 years because there's something of the way the shading and things worked when it was made.
Right,
so I'll
and
probably
yeah,
play
you're
that.
right. Actually, yeah, I've looked it up. It's not on GOG or on
Yeah.
Steam. Neither
It's-
3 or 4. So
They might just be. I wonder if that's also the licensing or something, and it's just lost to time. But
maybe they have to do some work to get Grim Fandango out again. So yeah, maybe.
yeah. But so I'll probably I'll try and track that down. I'll probably go to the dark web and find that, sell some bitcoins and buy that, and then yeah, I'll finish Game of Thrones and of course Dota 2. How can I ever turn my back on my terrible addiction?
What about yourself, Deno?
I hope to start Twilight Princess again for like the 4th or 5th time in my life tomorrow. So, and try and get that done before the Switch gets released. Who knows? Who knows what I'll do?
Good stuff. I'm gonna play some more Horizon probably this week, but this week's mostly
nice.
a work week, so probably not too much. Speaking of, I'm not sure. Did I talk about SWAT 4 the last time we did?
Yes.
I believe
I
so.
did. Yeah. So that was my abandonware enjoyment from GOG recently. So I might play some more of that. I've been going back to it pretty consistently the past 3 weeks, which is really fucking weird. I didn't expect that at all. But yeah, there you go. Thank you so much for sending in your games. Lives at eternaloflies.com. You can see the full list on eternaloflies.com. Thank you so much for watching on YouTube, listening in your podcast ear holes. We'll be back super soon with the next episode, episode 17. Make sure you send in those games. Maybe some easy ones we can rank, just like Pebble in there, so we can continue the drive to 100. But until then, we'll see you next time. Have a great week on a tournament of lies. Goodbye.